Hello student, today we are going to discuss about the motor organization. So before discussing this motor organization, I will talk about some information regarding the final university examination. So in university website, the paper style of the final university paper is published. So in that you can see paper 1 consists of 100 marks, paper 2 consists of 100 marks. In both the papers the MCQ are there and it consists of 20 marks in paper 1 and 20 marks in paper 2. So total 40 marks MCQ are there. Case based problem are there. Objective question, long question, short notes are asked. System are divided in paper 1 and paper 2. So according to we have to prepare for that exam. एग्ज़ाम कब लेंगे उसकी डेट अभी तक डिस्प्ले नहीं हुई है यूनिवर्सिटी वेबसाइट पे, सो वो होगी. नाउ व्हाट इज मोटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन? सो व्हाट आर द कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ द मोटर सिस्टम? सो मोटर कॉर्टेक्स, descending tracts of spinal cord, cerebellum, basal ganglia, vestibular apparatus, upper motor and lower motor neurons. These are the components of the motor system. So I think descending tracts, that is pyramidal tracts, are completed. Cerebellum is completed. Basal ganglia, it is almost completed, some topic is remaining. Okay. So there are two types of motor output, voluntary and involuntary, reflexive and voluntary. So जब हम कोई लिम्ब की मूवमेंट करते हैं, so at that time brain must plan a movement. So arrange appropriate motion at many different joint at the same time and adjust the motion at comparing the plan with the performance. So जो मूवमेंट होगी उसका जो कमांड है वो कहाँ पे ओरिजिनेट होता है? कॉर्टिकल एसोसिएशन एरिया. So command for voluntary movement that originate in the cortical association area. So this movement, like if we flex the forearm, so that movement that plan in the cortex as well in the basal ganglia and the lateral portion of the cerebellar hemisphere as indicated by increased electrical activity. What is the function of basal ganglia and cerebellum? So these are the organs which modified this information, funnel the information to premotor and motor cortex by the way of thalamus. So motor commands from this motor cortex that relayed in the large part via the corticospinal tract to the spinal cord and corresponding corticobulbar tracts to the motor neurons in the brainstem. So जो मोटर कॉर्टेक्स में जो मोटर कमांड है वो कॉर्टिकोस्पाइनल ट्रैक्ट से स्पाइनल कॉर्ड में जाएगा और कॉर्टिकोबल्बर ट्रैक्ट से ब्रेन स्टेम में जाएगा. Then movements that set up alteration in the sensory input from the spatial senses and from the muscles, tendons, joints and the skin. So this feedback information which adjust and smooth the movements, it relayed directly to the motor cortex and to the spinocerebellum. सो जो फीडबैक इन्फॉर्मेशन आएगी जो एडजस्ट एंड स्मूथ करेगी मूवमेंट को, दैट रिले डायरेक्टली टू द मोटर कॉर्टेक्स एंड द स्पाइनोसेरेबेलम, एंड स्पाइनोसेरेबेलम प्रोजेक्ट्स इन टर्न टू द ब्रेन स्टेम. तो मेन ब्रेन स्टेम पाथवे दे आर कंसर्न विद द पोस्चर एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन आर द रूब्रोस्पाइनल ट्रैक, रेटिकुलोस्पाइनल ट्रैक, टेक्टोस्पाइनल ट्रैक एंड वेस्टिबुलोस्पाइनल ट्रैक. सो ये जो ट्रैक है that mainly concern with the posture and coordination. They are the rubrospinal, reticulospinal tract, tectospinal tract and vestibulospinal tract. So this figure showing how this voluntary movements are controlled. So as we discussed in the earlier slide that the idea for any movement is generated in the cortical association area and then plan after that basal ganglia and cerebellum, then it goes to the premotor and motor cortex, then again the copy is generated in the cerebellum, so it modified and changed the movement that occurring, so execute the plan of movement. So commands for voluntary movement, it originate in the cortical association area. The cortex, the basal ganglia, the cerebellum that work cooperatively to plan the movements. Movement executed by the cortex is relayed via the corticospinal tract and corticobulbar tract to the motor neurons. The cerebellum provides feedback to adjust the and smooth the movement. सो सेरेबेलम का काम क्या है कि जो मूवमेंट हो रही है वो ठीक से हो, इसके लिए वो फीडबैक देगा. कंट्रोल ऑफ एक्सियल एंड डिस्टल मसल. सो विथ इन द ब्रेन स्टेम एंड स्पाइनल कॉर्ड, pathways and neurons, they are concerned with the control of the skeletal muscle of the trunk and the proximal portion of the limbs. They are located medially or ventrally, whereas the pathway and neurons, they are concerned with the control of skeletal muscle in the distal portion of the limbs. They are located laterally. So axial muscles concerned with the postural adjustment and gross movements, whereas the distal limb muscles mediate the fine movements. तो जो बॉडी के जो एक्सियल मसल्स है वो बॉडी का पोस्चर कंट्रोल करते हैं, ग्रॉस मूवमेंट, और जो डिस्टल्स मसल है लाइक मसल्स ऑफ फिंगर्स दैट मीडिएट द फाइन एंड स्किल मूवमेंट. ठीक है. So for example, neurons in the medial portion of the ventral horn that innervate the proximal limb muscles, particularly the flexors, whereas the lateral ventral horn neurons that innervate the distal limb muscles. So ventral corticospinal tract and medial descending brainstem pathway are concerned with the adjustment of the proximal muscles and posture, whereas the lateral corticospinal and rubrospinal tracts, they concern with the distal limb muscles in case of lateral corticospinal tract with skill voluntary movement. So lateral pathways are phylogenetically are newer pathways. Now what is the meaning of lower motor neuron and upper motor neuron? So this is a very important question for the Viva also objective question, also for short note. What is lower motor neuron? So in exam question is asked difference between upper motor neuron paralysis and lower motor neuron paralysis. So lower motor neurons are those whose axons terminate on the skeletal muscles. Damage to this neuron associated with the flaccid paralysis, flaccidity, muscular atrophy and fasciculation. हाइपोटोनिया मीन्स जो मसल में जो टोन है वो डिक्रीज हो जाएगा, डिक्रीज मसल टोन हो जाएगा. अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन में हाइपरटोनिया होता है, लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन पैरालिसिस में हाइपोटोनिया होता है और हाइपोरिफ्लेक्सिया. क्योंकि लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन इट इज़ अंडर कंट्रोल ऑफ अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन. सो इफ अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन इंजरी अकर, in that case lower motor neuron are over excited, so the muscle tone increase, hypertonia occur, and flaccid paralysis and muscular atrophy occur. Alpha and gamma motor neurons and certain cranial nerve nuclei, they are belong to this lower motor neuron. Now what is upper motor neuron? So upper motor neuron originate from the cortical and brainstem areas and it control the activity of the lower motor neuron. So this basically arise from the cortex and brainstem. So this refer to the corticospinal tract neurons that innervate the spinal motor neurons. But they can also include the brainstem neurons that control the spinal motor neurons. So damage these neurons initially causes muscle to become weak and flaccid but leads to spasticity. So in lower motor neuron paralysis flaccidity occur and upper motor neuron paralysis spasticity occur. In upper motor neuron injury hypertonia occur, increased resistance to passive movement, while lower motor neuron paralysis hypotonia occur. In upper motor neuron injury, plantar reflex that become abnormal, that is abnormal plantar extension reflex, that is known as Babinski sign is positive. In lower motor neuron disease, Babinski sign become negative. So examples of upper motor neurons are pyramidal and extrapyramidal tracts. They arise from the cortex and terminate on the spinal cord. So this is very important topic, upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron paralysis. It is upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. Now we talk about the motor cortex and voluntary movement. So in this figure you can see cortex is divided into sensory and motor area. So which are the motor area? You can see premotor cortex, supplementary motor cortex, primary somatic sensory cortex, posterior parietal cortex, prefrontal cortex. Okay. So also you can see the number is written, that is the area number. Okay. So cortex, cerebral cortex provides activating motor signals to the spinal cord. It issues parallel and sequential signal to set into action various code patterns of the motor activity. So major regions involved in the motor cortex are the primary motor cortex, that is Brodmann's area 4. This region is in the precentral gyrus of the frontal lobe extending into central sulcus. Premotor cortex and supplementary cortex, that is Brodmann's area number 6. So these are the Brodmann area 4 and 6. Primary motor cortex, the first convolution of the frontal lobe anterior to the central sulcus, that is primary motor cortex. By means of stimulation experiment in the patient undergoing the craniotomy under local anesthesia, it has been possible to outline the most of the motor projection from the M1. This has been confirmed in the unanesthetized unoperated humans by PET scan and MRI. So this is a figure of motor and somatosensory functional area of the cerebral cortex. The numbers 4, 5, 6, 7 are the broadband cortical area, and explain. So these are the various areas that control various movement. Okay. So the area for vocalization and fine movements are bigger than area for the movements for the axial movements. Okay. So in this you can see area for salivation, mastication, swallowing, vocalization, lip, face, eyeball, brow, neck, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder, trunk, hip, knee, ankle and toes. This is the topographical representation of the different muscles area of the body in the primary motor cortex. That beginning with the face and mouth region near the Salvian fissure, arm and the hand area in the mid portion of the primary motor cortex, the trunk near the apex of the brain, and the leg and foot area in the part of primary motor cortex that dips into the longitudinal fissure. The facial area is represented bilaterally, but the rest of the representation is generally unilateral, with the cortical motor area controlling the musculature on the opposite side of the body. So facial region हो facial area that represent bilaterally, but the rest of the representation is unilateral. Cortical motor area controlling the musculature on the opposite side of the body. So cortical representation of the each body part is proportionate to the size of the scale with which the part is used in the fine and voluntary movement. The areas involved in the speech and hand movements are large in the cortex. Use of the pharynx, lips and tongue to form the words and of the fingers and opposable thumb to manipulate the environmental activities in which humans are specially skilled. So the organs which are used in the skillful activities, so area for that it is larger. Also area involved in the speech and hand movements are larger in the cortex. So cortical representation of each body part is proportionate in the size to the scale with which the part is used in the fine and voluntary movement. Like scale and voluntary movement, fine movements, the cortical representation of the body part is large. So same figure you can see the cortical representation of the various body part in the cerebral cortex. Supplementary motor area. So it lies mainly in the longitudinal fissure but extend a few centimeter into the superior frontal cortex. The supplementary motor area project to the motor cortex. It contains the map of body less precise than in the M1. So it involves primarily in the organizing and planning the motor sequence while M1 execute the movement. So supplementary motor area involved in the organizing, planning the motor sequence and execute the movements. So in general this area function in concert with the premotor area to provide the body wide attitudinal movements, fixation movements of different segments of the body, positional movements of the head and eyes, as background for the fine motor control of the arms and hands by the premotor area and primary motor cortex. Premotor area that lies 1 to 3 centimeter anterior to the primary motor cortex, extending inferiorly into the Salvian fissure and superior into the longitudinal fissure, where it absorbs the supplementary motor area. The topographical organization of the premotor cortex is roughly the same as the primary motor cortex. The nerve signal generated in the premotor area cause much more complex pattern of movement than discrete pattern generated in the primary motor cortex. For instance, the pattern may be position the shoulders and arms so that the hands are properly oriented to perform a specific task. The premotor cortex sends its signals either directly to the primary motor cortex to excite the specific muscles or by the way of basal ganglia and thalamus back to the primary motor cortex. Thus the premotor cortex, basal ganglia, thalamus, primary motor cortex, these all organs constitute a complex overall system for the control of complex pattern of coordinated muscle activity. So by coordination of these organs, premotor cortex, basal ganglia, thalamus and primary motor cortex that control the complex pattern of coordinated muscle activity. So these are the supplementary and premotor areas: primary motor cortex, area for hand scale, head rotation, contractile eye movements and word formation, Broca's area, eye fixation area, choice of words, Wernicke's area. Some specialized areas for motor control: Broca's speech area, premotor area, that word formation like immediately anterior to the primary motor cortex and immediately above the Salvin fissure. Voluntary eye movement field, immediately above the Broca's area, it is locus for the controlling the voluntary eye movement. Damage to this area prevents the person from voluntarily moving the eye toward the different objects. So these are the Broca's speech area and voluntary eye movement field. These are specialist area of motor control that is found in the motor cortex. Head rotation area, slightly higher in the motor association area. Electrical stimulation elicit the head rotation. This area is closely associated with the eye movement field. So it directs the head toward the different objects. That is head rotation area. Area for the hand skill, in the premotor area that immediately anterior to the primary motor cortex for the hands and fingers. It is a region that neurosurgeons have identified as important mark for the hand skill. That is, when tumors or other lesions cause destruction of the hand skill area, hand movement become uncoordinated and non-purposeful. That is known as motor apraxia. So when lesion occur in this hand skill, that occur motor apraxia because hand movement become uncoordinated and non-purposeful. Condition known as motor apraxia. So this is the figure that is showing the brainstem, medial brainstem pathway in medial reticular formation, tectospinal pathway, reticulospinal tract, vestibulospinal tract, lateral and medial vestibular nuclei, tectum, lateral brainstem pathway, red nucleus, magnocellular pathway, rubrospinal tract. So which are the brainstem pathway for motor control? Spinal motor neurons are organized such that those innervating the most proximal muscles are located most medially and those innervating the more distal muscle located more distally. This organization is reflected in descending brainstem pathway. So medial pathway, that is most of extrapyramidal tracts, reticulospinal tract, vestibulospinal tract, tectospinal tract, that terminate in the ventromedial area of the spinal gray matter and control axial and proximal muscles. So that is medial pathway. Medial pathway mainly concerned with the adjustment of proximal muscle and posture movements. Lateral pathway, that newer one, main control of distal muscles arise from lateral corticospinal tract. Rubrospinal tract also terminates in the dorsolateral area of the spinal gray matter and control the distal muscle. This rubrospinal tract excites the motor flexor motor neurons and inhibit the extensor motor neurons. They are mainly concerned with the distal limb muscles and particularly in the case of lateral corticospinal tract with scale voluntary movements. So which are the anti-gravity muscles that maintain our posture, like extensor of the trunk, extensor of the lower limbs, extensor of the neck, flexor of the upper limbs and elevators of the jaw. So these are the anti-gravity muscle that maintain our posture